Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be covering another altcoin. Yesterday we did XLM and today is going to be Casper CSPR networks, and today I think really what we're going to be focusing on Casper is some entry points that we're looking for, because as you can see on Casper, if we zoom out, there's a massive illiquid wick to the upside that goes really far up. But really when we are looking at the Casper chart, this is what we want to be covering. On the monthly chart there's not too much to really focus on, so weekly works better for Casper in my opinion here. So really when we are zooming in on the current price action, you can see that we had a massive illiquid wick, well not even a wick, an illiquid candle body when we first got listed on exchanges for Casper here, and which we've now come back down into. And you can see price action is hovering around these areas, which is why I'm getting interested in Casper right now, and a couple of things are setting up for Casper that I'm really liking to see, especially with the Fibonacci's and a couple of trend lines. So that's what I'm going to focus on today for Casper. So let me know in the comments if you are looking at Casper or interested in Casper, what you think of Casper fundamentally, and yeah, let's get into it guys. And as always, to start out, we are going to focus on the support and resistance levels, the most logical, most recent one for Casper, the one that I think is really important. And I think, as you can see with these wicks and these candle bodies right here, and a breakdown, as you can see right here, numerous tests of this logical zone that we are looking at. Even this one came back up to it. I think that zone we need to keep on the chart, because really when analysing higher time frame stuff, this zone is probably going to come back into play at some point in the market. But really now we need to try and focus on where we are entering Casper, what levels look good to us for then a move back up to this zone, and how we can correlate with a couple of trend lines and Fibonacci's back to this level in anticipation of a nice move up for Casper. So just zooming in now a little bit, I have just adjusted that level there to take into account of a couple of these wicks here, which makes a little bit more sense. When analysing Casper right now, you might think this is simple stuff, support, resistance, trend lines, but it is simple stuff. But if you take into account how low we are now in the market and how fearful we are compared to everyone that might have been buying up here and buying every single dip down, probably a little bit too scared now in the market. And that's really why I start to get a bit interested in coins like this, where we are back at a logical zone, fears in the market, and no one's really willing to take moves and risk. The risk to reward right now, in my opinion, for altcoins, like I covered yesterday with XLM, is really setting up nicely. But now we just need to focus on how can we try and find a nice level to start entering Casper, because you might think the level's already really good to enter, and you might be right in the long term, but in the short term, I think what I'm going to do is just take this candle wick here to candle body here, and you can see we had a nice initial reaction here, but it looks to be setting up like we are going to come down and have another retest of this trend line. You will often get one or two, so there's your first. If we anticipate a bit of a retrace back down to this level here on this trend line, let's say in the next couple of weeks, in December or so, that would coincide with, let me get that, that's the wrong one. That would coincide with around 2 cents, 2.2 cents for Casper. Let's say it happens in this week, that would be around 2.3 cents, something around them levels. These levels for Casper is what I'm really looking for. Candle wick to candle body, nice pump up, coming back down to retrace to take out the longs of this market. And I think if you have a look at where this price action might lead back down to, it would come in for a nice fill of this wick, which is really what I'm wanting to see for Casper. Nice fill of the wick and then get ready for the move up, because Fibonacci's do line up nicely for this move back to the upside. And yeah, we'll get into that right now. So I'm just going to leave that trend line there whilst we focus on the Fibonacci's, because it can come in and give us a bit of confluence to maybe even a date for where we want to be seeing Casper move down to. So really to start analysing and anticipating a bit of manipulation to the downside, what we can do is take candle body on the weekly time frame, top to bottom, and look at the minus 27%, and that comes in at around 1.9 cent for Casper. So if we just mark this zone out, we'll mark it out as a zone because it can get a little bit tricky when anticipating a bit of manipulation. So if we make the zone a little bit bigger, something like that, that would really give us a nice key level that we try and focus on. So if you can imagine, if Casper started to come down, get that capitulation into January or something like that for Casper, down to around these levels, I think that would be then the point we are then looking to get a nice move back up to maybe the 1.618, and this key zone lines up with the 1.618 as well. So really nice confluence here for Casper, and I think it just comes down to risk to reward now, because it could happen before this. We might get the drop, we might not. We don't know. We're just trying to anticipate and factor in a bit of manipulation, especially with this wick to candle body. Really, really good for factoring in manipulation. And then the -27 on the candle bodies, really, really nice confluence. And I think this could be a nice move to maybe capitalize on. It just really matters on how we are going to be starting to enter the market, and if we are willing to if we are willing to risk a bit of drawdown here, or if we are looking to enter. Now, and that comes down to you and your own patience and your own trading style. But for me, I think a bit of patience always works well, because I am in Casper yet. I am looking to get in, and I think this would be the nice key level to really start doing that. So now for Casper, as we have started to look at manipulation levels to the downside for Casper on the weekly time frame, I think what makes the most sense, now we've got our most logical levels and the range that we are in, I think what makes the most sense is to perhaps try and factor in a bit of manipulation to the upside, because let's say we do come back to this range, get a move up, something like this, come down, get the spike up. What if we continue there? How can we factor in a bit of manipulation to the upside? And how we can do that is a simple wick to wick trend line there. And can you see how that movement would make sense in hindsight if we was to look back at this and say, yeah, well, this was obvious. But it's not really that obvious right now, is it? Because not many people are looking at entering at these levels. People will probably start to look to enter the coins and after the big move, something like that. And that's about a 200% move. Let's have a look at that. See if this move happens. You know, around a 200% move, that really is quite substantial, because then you can take your initial investment out. You've got profit. You can take your 50% of profit. And then if you get a nice pullback, you can look to re-enter and accumulate Casper, like the big players in this market are looking to do, something like that. I can really see this happening. You've seen this many times in bottoming structures where we come up and come down, and this is really just a process of whales and big players in the market accumulating, increasing their holdings and making people buy the pumps and sell the dumps. So really, when trying to analyze altcoins, something like this, factor in a bit of manipulation, get the key levels to the downside, to the upside, have your risk management in place. And you know, if you're dipping lower than that and you have your risk management in place, 25% loss, you know, do whatever you want, whatever you need to do in terms of risk management. But for me, looking good. I really am willing to wait for this, and I think we are going to get this dip down. But what do I know? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional at this. I'm just showing my analysis on the internet. So if you like this video, guys, let me know. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you aren't already. And once again, I will see you next time. Cheers.